Let's keep it going. Our next stand-up student is coming up to the stage. Everybody give it up for Mike Nelson!
I'm Mike Nelson.
Nelson!
And I'm a school teacher. I was trained in special ed, and I have a degree in psychology. And like other school teachers, that means I'm probably an expert in behavior modification. Am I right?
Yeah.
So I can get you to do anything that I want. But not really, not in this situation. In a professional setting, like a school, I can modify behaviors. If somebody's doing something I don't like, I can get them to stop. If I don't like it, I can get them to stop by using techniques. But it turns out that as a father, it's harder to apply these same techniques at home. I'll give you an example. When my oldest daughter, she's now 19, she's away at college. When she was 2, she didn't, like other terrible 2s, didn't like picking up her toys. So we would say, hey, you gotta pick up your toys. And she would say, no, I'm not picking up my toys. She was a very articulate 2-year-old, she really was. She was. But we would say, well, if you're not gonna pick up your toys, you have to go over in there and sit in your timeout spot. And she would say, no, I'm not sitting in my timeout spot. And we would say, well, yes, you are. And we'd actually say, you have to sit there. And so she would go to her timeout spot, and after a minute or so, she'd calm down, and she would say, Dad, can I pick up my toys now? And I would say, yes, you can. And I would think that I am such a brilliant genius of a father, because she asked me to do the thing that I wanted her to do that she didn't want to do. That's success. And so I felt pretty good. But it turns out, though, for some reason, she did not like going to bed. We'd put her to bed, she'd get up, I need a drink of water. I'm hungry. She would come up with a dozen reasons, and literally she would get up 12 to 24 times to torment us, and all the way until midnight. Well, one day we had a couple of friends come over, Barb and Brett, and Barb and Brett had dinner with us, and then we were gonna play some games, and we put the kid to bed, and after a few minutes she gets up, can I have a drink of water? Well, no, go back to bed. And this happens half a dozen times. About 9 o'clock, Barb says, Mike, where's your timeout spot for her? And my wife looks over at me, rolls her eyes. Oh, big behavior mod genius over here makes timeout her bed. So a week ago, my daughter, she's in college now, she's down in Arizona, and she calls up, she says, Dad, I just can't get to sleep. I'm having the worst time going to sleep. And I said, what's the problem? And she says, every time I go to bed, it feels like a punishment. I ruined her whole life, but I didn't want to tell her. It was because when you were 2. So I just said, oh yeah, your mom feels like a punishment every time she goes to bed with me. But my wife rolled her eyes when she did that thing, criticizing my professional techniques. But she's not the best at Eyerolls. Right now I have 3 teenagers, and one of them's 15. Another daughter's 15, and she is probably the world champion eye roller. 15-year-old daughters, come on. In fact, with all my experience watching Eyerolls, I've been able to categorize them into 5 category Eyerolls, like hurricanes. Category 1 is the smallest one, and it happens. I'm going to tell you about each kind of eye roll, each category, and I'm going to tell you how to induce it if you ever want to induce, if you're a parent, you want to induce an eye roll in your kid. So, category 1 eye roll is when you say just a dad joke, just a standard dad joke. So, you come home from work and your daughter's in the kitchen and she's complaining about there's not enough food or something like that, and so you respond by saying, hi, hungry, I'm dad. And the daughter will say, and that's it. That's how you induce category 1. That's what it looks like. It's just a little bit of thing with an exhale. All right, so category 2 is you can get one of these just by existing in a public place where your daughter is. You just have to exist. And this is how it happens. You go to pick up your daughter. She's out with her friends, out in front of the school, and she doesn't see you drive up. So you get out of the car, and you say, hey, Sally, I'm here. Oh, that's my dad. You guys don't ever listen to his jokes. So that's category. So you tilt your head a little more, and you groan, a little more of a groan. Category 3 is kind of like a combination of a category 1 and 2. And it happens like this. You come home from work, your daughter is sitting at the kitchen table with her friends, eating the food that you got because she was complaining, for the category 1 eye roll. And they're eating all your food, and you walk in, and immediately, of course, you get a category 2 eye roll. Oh, Dad's home. And then you walk up and you introduce, hi, I'm Sally's dad. It's nice to meet all of you. Would you like to hear a joke? That's when the daughter will go, oh, category 3. So notice there's an arch in the back more. The head tilts back and there's more of a groan. Oh, he tells the same lame jokes all the time. Which may be true, but they haven't heard it. So category 4 is when you do something that's pretty egregious. Your daughter, 15-year-old, her friends have called up and they made plans to go out for the weekend on a Friday night, and you walk by her room and you go, oh my gosh, that is the worst thing I've ever seen in there. And it looks like, of course, looks like a category 4 hurricane's gone through it. And so you say to your daughter, when she says, Dad, my friends are coming over to pick me up and we're going to the movie. And you say, this is how you induce it. You're not going anywhere until that room is picked up. And that's when she says, you are so lame, they're on their way right now. And you say, well, you better pick it up fast. And this, when you say fast, that's when she goes category 4. Ah! And she's almost falling on the ground. So that's category 4. Category 5. And you okay? What's that?
Concussion.
Yeah, in fact, you should have, if you're going to induce one of these, you should have a helmet handy, or at least put some pads on sharp corners, move tables out of the way, get the rounded corners in your house if you're going to be inducing these on a regular basis. And this is how you do it. You go and look at your kids' Power School, and you notice there's like 3 or 4 assignments that aren't complete, that haven't been turned in. So you go to Sally and you say, you have to be ready. I noticed that you didn't have some of your assignments done. I looked at Power School, and she's like, no. And then you say, until you get those assignments done, I want you to give me your phone. No! And so notice the head motion and there is, I didn't prepare you for this, but there is one more at 5+. Wow, if you want to see her eyes roll even further and seizure-like shaking, you have to say this. It's a 5+. It's still just an eye roll. Remember, you got to remember, it's still an eye roll. She's not really in danger. So she's back here. No. And then you say, and I want you to tell your friends to listen to my jokes.
Bravo. Hey.